Some tapes were never meant to be seen. They weren't found buried in the woods or locked away in some police archive. They were uploaded, casually, by a Canadian news outlet, but what they captured was anything but casual.
Can you see, Mommy?
It's
my stroller! Oh, you see the stroller. Okay, is there, Mommy? Yes.
Do you understand that you've been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder?
Hi!
It begins like any family home video. A mother singing happy birthday to her daughter. A little girl named Serena is turning 3. There's laughter. There's a promise of gifts from the birthday fairies. But listen closely. Beneath Elaine Campion's voice is something strange. It's not the shaky cam. It's not the cluttered apartment. It's the cracks forming in her tone. The kind of cracks that don't show up in smiles. Without warning, the footage shifts. Elaine is no longer a cheerful mom. She's addressing the camera like it's a courtroom, condemning her ex-partner, cursing his name, wishing him hellfire.
I think Diego Campion is totally in the wrong, and I hope he burns in hell for all his sins. The same as Leonardo. All I wanted to do was take care of my 2 little girls and live happily ever after the 3 years of physical, emotional, and mental abuse that I endured tremendously by Leonardo Campion, and then the past year from Anna and Diego Campion, the mental and emotional abuse, which wasn't stopped.
She claims years of torment, abuse during her pregnancies, bruises behind closed doors, and a justice system that looked away. One moment, she's handing her daughter a bicycle. The next, she's documenting emotional collapse. Legal records confirm parts of her story. Her ex-partner had faced serious allegations, and yet he was released on bond. Elaine filed for divorce, tried to relocate with her children, but the system had rules, and those rules didn't allow her to leave. Even supervised visits were protected. That's when her fear turned inward, and the worry never left. In October 2006, something shifted again. Elaine's mother visited, sensing that something wasn't right. Elaine had become fearful, deeply so. And then came one last video. In it, her tone was calm, but her words felt like goodbye. She speaks of heaven, of reunion, and of things being her way out. But what happened that night shook a nation. But for YouTube's sake, let's just say it ended in tragedy. A tragedy that claimed 2 young lives. Elaine tried to harm herself afterward, but she survived. She was arrested, tried, and in 2010, convicted. The court acknowledged her mental health struggles, but said she was aware of her actions. She was sentenced to life, no parole, for 25 years. And yet, sometimes, the most disturbing videos aren't the ones where someone breaks. They're the ones where someone hides it. You're watching a normal home video. A father, a son, talking about fast food, money, and how skinny he's gotten. Nothing seems out of place.
Well, you're looking good. Grandma was saying that she thought that you got quite a bit thinner, but you look fit. I don't know.
Well, I've been surviving mostly on McDonald's food. It's just so much easier.
He flips through a newspaper, laughs, talks about eating at home more, and yet, something feels off. It's Jeffrey Dahmer. By the time this footage was recorded, he had already taken lives. Not 1, not 2, but several. There's no screaming, no blood, no clues in the room, just a calm, almost boring moment between father and son. And that's what makes it terrifying. You think you're witnessing the making of a monster, but the monster's already here. It's just pretending to be human. We don't know the exact date of the video, but we do know Dahmer was arrested on July 22nd, 1991. So this tape? It was filmed while the murders were still happening. Somewhere off camera, in an apartment miles away, there were human remains, bones, photographs, freezers hiding secrets no one could stomach. And here he is, chatting about McDonald's, like everything's fine. Jeffrey Dahmer was born on May 21st, 1960, in Milwaukee at 18. Something unthinkable happened. In the quiet of his own home, a life was taken. What followed was even more chilling. He hid what he'd done, then weeks later, returned to it. Not out of guilt, but curiosity. He disturbed the silence again and scattered pieces of that moment across his backyard, as if trying to erase or relive what he'd done. Then, for nearly a decade, Nothing. But silence could be deceiving, because monsters don't disappear. They wait. Between 1987 and 1991, the silence shattered. Dahmer's apartment became something far worse than anyone imagined. When authorities entered, they found things no one should find in a home. Evidence of obsession, preservation, control, and photographs, disturbing enough to send trained investigators outside for air. When he was finally brought in, he didn't hide. He detailed everything: the patterns, the people, the places where reality had twisted into something much darker. He was sentenced to life, but behind bars, his story didn't end. On November 28th, 1994, it was over, not by trial, but by someone else's hand. What makes this video so unsettling isn't what's said, it's what isn't. There's no horror soundtrack, no flashing lights, just a conversation, calm and ordinary. But sometimes that's the most terrifying thing of all, because real evil doesn't always need a mask. Sometimes it smiles, sits across from the family, talks about fast food, and when you look back, you realize what was hiding in plain sight. So next time you watch an old home video, don't just look at the person, look at the silence behind them, because true horror doesn't always announce itself. There's a bridge connecting Virginia and North Carolina, spanning over the Dan River near Eden. By day, it looks like nothing, just old concrete, cracked pavement, but locals don't call it that. They call it Satan's Bridge. It's more than just a nickname. For decades, people have reported seeing hooded figures near the site, the kind you don't want to walk up to and ask for directions. Whispers of paranormal activity, faint chanting in the trees, and signs of rituals. Not cosplay, not edgy teenagers, actual black candles, actual pentagrams, things that feel wrong even in daylight. The footage we're about to examine was posted on May 16th, 2008 by a YouTube channel called Scary Weather, but it wasn't filmed in 2008. It was shot in 1999 and 2000 by a student named Chris Cry, who had set out to document the bridge for his high school literary magazine. What he captured was not just creative research, it was something else entirely. Chris drives out to Satan's Bridge with a camera in hand. He walks beneath the southern side of the structure and finds something waiting for him in the shadows. 5 stones laid out on a perfect pentagram. In the center, ashes and sand. He reaches down with a finger and digs. Buried in the soot is a charred piece of paper. He brushes it clean. A religious pamphlet burnt at the edges, still legible. John 3:16. Someone took a passage about eternal salvation and sacrificed it. Beside it, there were black candles, a detail that would send chills down the spine of anyone who's read the Satanic Bible. They're not decorations. They're used in rituals. This wasn't graffiti. This wasn't theater. It was a stage. A year later, Chris returns, but what he finds this time is worse. Much worse. In a ditch by the bridge, he discovers trash bags ripped open and oozing decay. Inside, deer carcasses, dog skeletons, bones. The smell was overwhelming. He considered the logical explanation. Maybe it was roadkill, dumped by hunters or the Department of Transportation. But even he admits,
considering it is called Satan's Bridge, I always suspected that the goings-on at the bridge was simply more teenage fascination and exploration of so-called satanic rituals more than anything else.
But why this bridge? Why always here? Chris suspected it was just bored teenagers. Maybe they're just trying to scare each other. Maybe it was just edgy rebellion. And there's the thing. Teenagers might draw symbols, they might light candles, but they don't burn scripture. They don't leave behind real carcasses. And if they do, then maybe that's even more terrifying, because it means the evil isn't from some ancient curse. It's coming from people just like us. To this day, Satan's Bridge remains a hotspot for curiosity seekers and ghost hunters. But if you ever find yourself walking near Eden and you feel something watching you from under the concrete, don't look back, because whatever happens beneath that bridge was never meant to be seen. But that is all for this video, and I would love to personally thank you all for watching this edition of the Creepiest Cases of Real Found Footage. This was Nightfuel, and I hope you have a good evening and good night.